Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your Washington Commanders update, and I am your host, Candy CWall Waller, checking in as I do as much as I possibly can. But definitely after a Washington Commanders game during the NFL regular season. I will give you a moment to join on into this live. We're having this discussion live, and it is a very, very special day. It is Mama Waller's birthday, everybody. Everybody say happy birthday to Mama Waller. Today is her birthday, October the 7th. So drop it in the chat. Say happy birthday to her while I have calls here. As you all are joining into the live, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to Bowie TV. Love button if you are watching through Facebook. We're going to go ahead and get into it because I know Commanders fans are ready to go. I see Mazdak, the chaplain, is already in here and ready to go and ready to start talking all things Washington Commanders after their victory over the Cleveland Browns. So as you all are joining in, drop those happy birthday chats to Mama Waller. She'll be on. Like I said, she's the birthday girl. So she's doing a lot. She's a busy person, popular woman. So if you're joined in from Facebook, she has popped in, everybody. So drop all of the happy birthday messages to her. Pops Waller, he'll be watching momentarily for sure. Love button, fire emoji, Commanders fans, if you are indeed in a good mood, given that it is Victory Monday. It is yet again a Victory Monday. Quite a few in a row. Quite a few in a row. You all, we're going to get into it. We're just going to go ahead and get into it. I have clips, as you all know. I always have clips. And have a interview, small media scrum with Bobby Wagner from after yesterday's game that I want to share. If you're watching on the television screens, on Verizon Channel 11 or Comcast Xfinity Channel 77. Hopefully, this is not a time where you would want to throw any tomatoes at the screen. Hopefully, everyone is in a great mood, unless you're not a Commanders fan. If you're not a Commanders fan at all, you are probably not in a good mood. You're probably not feeling like your best self, actually. This is probably a very, very tough time for you, quite frankly, if you are not a Commanders fan. Because you spent so many years, so many decades laughing at this organization. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But clearly, things are a little different. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into, my favorite game. One of my most favorite icebreakers, if you will. What's your one word? What is your one word to describe how you are feeling about the Washington Commanders win over the Cleveland Browns? And I see that some folks are saying that they were there. I see Cliff House saying that he was there. Cameron's one word is dub. Kim Perry, who was in the building, said she doesn't have any voiceless. Chief of DC says anxiety was his one word. I hope it was a good anxiety. Dominant is Cliff's one word. Michael Underwood says next was his one word. Keep dropping those one words into the chat. I think I probably have still had the same one word, which is kind of like, wow. Okay, we're going to get into a little bit of everything. Cliff, I saw your comment about fans. We'll get to that. We'll get to the fans. So many of you all were in the building, and we'll get to that conversation. But we have to get to some others first. And I got clips. I have clips that I want to share with you all. Definitely the Bobby Wagner interview is going to take about 5 or so minutes. We have to get into, if you all have watched the last couple of episodes, I have shared a story of some sort. One week, it was Monday Night Football. I kind of went into story time on all the things that went wrong that day. And I said, you know what? Clearly, the reason why things are going wrong is because the Commanders are going to win. Then last Sunday, I said things were a little shaky. Before the game, I shared with you all a conversation that I had with head coach Dan Quinn about all the weirdness and things that were going wrong. And I said, clearly, this is another opportunity where things aren't going well. So that means the Commanders, they must be winning. They must be winning this game. Things were going smooth yesterday morning for me until they were not. And it was somewhat of a personal debacle. Shocking debacle, if I might say. One debacle, I won't tell that story. The next one, though, I will tell this story. After the first story, I already knew. After the first incident, I already said, you know what? I'm going to keep this one to myself. But clearly, the streak continues. Perhaps this is going to be a very, very good day for the Washington Commanders. And then the next debacle that kind of sealed the deal, it was probably about 12:30. I had done the pregame show. Shout out to the guys of All Burgundy and Gold, everything. I do a pregame show before the game every Sunday or every game day. And long story short, I was doing so much, thought the top to my tee was secure. And I'm talking, and I'm sitting there in my seat, and I start to drink the tea, and the hot scalding water just everywhere. And it was very hot. And it was bad. It was a bad, sad situation. I think I was in shock. And Donna Hopkins was sitting next to me. Go ahead and tag Donna and say, Candy's talking about you. Yes, because I had spilled the scalding hot water on myself. And I looked at Donna. She said, are you okay? I said, no. I'm actually in a lot of pain. I said it this calm. I'm actually in a lot of pain. But you know what? The Commanders are going to win today. Because this morning it's been not the greatest, not the worst, but it's been pretty random yet again. So this must mean they're on their way to victory. Whatever you got to do to just keep you going, and that's what ends up happening with me, then that's what I say. That's what ends up happening. So I'm going to keep that going. Not that I want to get in the business of having debacles to solidify, a win, but hey, seems to be working. So we'll just go on from there. Here's something that I did not share with you all previously, and I'm going to share this clip. You all may have seen it in head coach Dan Quinn's press conference. I think it was after the Arizona Cardinals win. And I didn't get a chance to share it with you all last week because we were having a ball, weren't we? Just talking about all of the things. And he mentioned that Saturday before the game that they had a conversation with Michael Phelps. That's right. The Michael Phelps. That Michael Phelps. The Olympic champion, gold medal, record breaker. Yes, I believe some of his record or two of his has been broken by now, but still, has solidified his spot in history, in Olympic history, in swimming history, all of the things. And I want to play this clip if you didn't hear it in last week's presser after the win against the Cardinals, because I think this is very applicable, and it just shows and gives you a glimpse a bit of what the team is trying to do in terms of having what the organization is trying to do in terms of having the team engage with champions. And what does that mean when you are trying to reach a higher level of competition and overall just greatness? So I want to share this clip with you all. It's about a minute or so, but check it out.
We heard a really important message about sacrifice, and it was actually from Michael Phelps, and who was absolutely a one-of-one competitor. But being on the road for 8 days, that is sacrifice, and that sacrifice also leads to a lot of connection on the team. And it looks like a whole bunch of things on the field. It looked like Dorrance Armstrong, competing until the clock hits zero. OZ, the crazy support he has on the sideline for all his teammates, and same thing with J-Mac, and the sideline going crazy for special teams tackles for guys like Sinnott and Yankoff and Mike Davis. And so those moments, they help, about what sacrifice is all about, and playing and competing. And at the end of it, I think I told you a little bit last night, I was pleased to see the complementary football. And I thought there was a clear illustration of it, of a fourth down stop at the end of the half, which led to points, to getting the ball to start the second half, and that's so important for us to do. So that was kind of what I'd hope we'd see when we're playing team football all the way through. And so we're jacked to be back home and get in front of the fans, and I think the environment at the stadium is going to be absolute wild, and we're looking forward to that.
So a couple things there. Of course, the mention of just the sacrifice and being away from home for that amount of time. Of course, in the end, he closed it out and talking about the fans. And I know that you all are already talking and commenting in the chat about the fans. And I do have a clip about the fans as well. And you all may have seen it on either my Facebook or my X, the conversation I had with Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. And they fully expected the fans to show up and show out. And you all absolutely did. I made several jokes like, get in there before kickoff. And for the most part, fans were in there. It was a resounding applause when the team took the field, and it was a resounding boos when the Cleveland Browns took the field. So it was definitely one of those things that I said, and just like that, the fans are back in here. They are back in here. And it was super evident that the fans were behind the team the entire time. They gave you something to cheer about, of course, but it was just amazing to see. And I'm smiling because I'm like, whoa, they're really here. And when the offense was executing, it was like you could hear a pin drop. It was like everybody was like, be quiet. But when the Browns offense was on the field, they just wasn't going to get anything done. They weren't going to get anything accomplished at all. Overall, and drop in the chat. And if you're just tuning in, this is from the Culture from the Couch series, the Washington Commanders Update. I am your host, Candy CWall Waller. This is a Bowie Television live recording. If you're watching on TV, I know you're watching either from Verizon Channel 11 or Comcast Xfinity Channel 77. Hopefully, if you're streaming from Facebook, hit that love button. You still have plenty of time to share this with your Washington Commanders loving family and friends. If you're tuned in from YouTube, you can share the link as well and get your Washington Commanders loving family and friends involved in the conversation, because this is a happy conversation. Now, I did time y'all, though. I did say now on Wednesday, I'm going to give y'all I'm going to be, hey, everybody be real happy. But on Wednesday, we moving on to the Baltimore Ravens. I saw a Baltimore Ravens comment. We're not there just yet. We're gonna rest in the win, in the last few wins, and we're gonna take good notes, and we're going to use our clues and collect all the good receipts. We're not going to move on to the Baltimore Ravens just yet. We're going to have some fun because you all know Bowie TV covers the Baltimore Ravens as well. Word to my girl Karita Parks. So this is going to be a lot of fun going into this week. My nerves are already a little bad, but they don't have to be bad until Wednesday. So we're going to hold off on my nerves being bad and just anything else. We're just going to stay in the positive aura. Okay, we'll stay there. I said last week, I don't think people realize what big of a deal it was that the Washington Commanders defense held Kyler Murray and that in the Arizona Cardinals offense to just 14 points. This Washington Commanders defense. I don't think people really talked about that. Then when you think about the fact that this Commanders defense again held the Cleveland Browns to only 2 field goals. You might as well say for the most of the game. Seriously, most of the game until the very end. They scored a touchdown. Okay, who cares? Didn't really matter at that point, but they did. That's a big deal. That is a very, very big deal. And I think that more credit needs to be given. I'm being serious. And we're going to talk about this. And I just shared a comment from Mazdak because Mazdak asked last week, was the Arizona Cardinals game a turning point? I think it absolutely was. And I'm going to share a clip where Dan Quinn was asked by my Commanders media colleague, Nikki Javala, about that as well. I'm going to share that clip in a moment. I think we should be paying a bit more attention, you know? And I'm going to go back to this comment. Again, Mazdak is flowing in the comment section. Joe Witt is making adjustments. We knew that Cliff Kingsbury was. Okay. We knew from week 2 against the Giants to week 3 against the Cincinnati Bengals to week 4 against the Arizona Cardinals to week 5 against the Cleveland Browns. We were very clear that Cliff Kingsbury was like, okay, whatever we need to fix, we're going to fix that now. And we saw that. But then from week 3 to week 4 for the defense, you said, oh, they're doing things a little different. And then from week 4 to week 5, here we go. Remember Dan Quinn told everybody, do you have your notebook and your pen out? Because we're using our clues again and we're collecting receipts. He said he kept telling the defense, you're closer than you think. You're closer than you think. You're closer than you think. But then you get into the details of what really needs to transpire. And you see them doing it. I reminded y'all, I told y'all, I said, hey, I shared it in one of my episodes while in Arizona. Bobby Wagner actually told exactly what needs to be done to beat Kyler Murray. And lo and behold, that's what the defense did and held them to 14 points. And so then you see this happen again. Go back to the time when I asked, and love button or fire emoji in the chat, if you remember me asking Coach Joe Witt Jr., what specific plays or players are examples of the brand of football that you want to see? And he said, Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, Quan Martin, Benjamin St. Juste, and then he went ahead and added Percy Butler in there. But what was the first name? What was the first name? What was the first name? The first one, the number one, Frankie Louvu. And then what did he say? He said, but we have to get all 11 guys, all 11 playing the same brand of football. So let me, spoiler alert for you all, if you don't understand where I'm going with this. Where I'm going with this is there should be 11 Frankie Louvu type people on defense at all times. So whatever unit is out there, whomever's out there, you see how he does? That's what the expectation is. So if it just so happened, and I've been talking about Frankie Louvu since May, like, hey, did y'all know that was really, I've shared this with you all. That was who Carolina Panthers fans were irate about losing. They weren't happy at all about losing Frankie Louvu. And they were very, very clear. Frankie Louvu already plays the brand of football that they want to play. Imagine a Commanders defense that everybody plays like Frankie Louvu. Because that's the goal. And because that's not quite yet what is seen, I'm going to be very clear with you. They're not there yet. No. And because I have conversations and I ask questions, I want to know what you want to be like when you grow up. And they tell you. So understanding that, you have to ask yourself, who's showing that they're playing with that level of intensity? Because I don't know about you all, but from a defense perspective, I saw it in week 4. And I came on this show and I said, oh my goodness, here we go. I knew they were all in there somewhere. And I even shared with you all, there was a moment, I don't know if they showed it on the TV, where I saw Jonathan Allen embrace Duron. He gave him a hug. It was like, it was a sigh of relief. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy you found yourself too. I am, for real. I felt that hug. I felt that sigh. I felt it. I may have done it myself, honestly. Whew. Oh. But then you saw it again in week 5. Let me also share something with you all. I think it's a very important point. In the same conversation I had with Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, I made a comment about the Baltimore Ravens. And do you know what both of these gentlemen said to me? They said, Candy, it's week 5. We played the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. Ask us about the Baltimore Ravens next week. This week, it's the Cleveland Browns. We gotta deal with the Cleveland Browns. All right. I was very happy to hear that. I was happy to hear just about everything they say. I'd be happy to hear, honestly. And the reason why I'm now happy to hear it is because then I can see. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to be about it. I want to acknowledge all of these comments here. This one, again, it's the acknowledgement of whatever you're doing that's not working. Fix it. Don't make it to where the players need to conform to whatever you're doing. You need to make them do what you say. No. Do what works for them. Find that balance. Do what works for them so they can deliver on what you're looking for. It's working. And I want to say this. If this is about the Frankie Louvu jersey, someone said this to me the other day. They were like, online, they don't even have like really good. Frankie Louvu has been so under the radar that I had people hitting me up in OTAs like, who is number 4? Who is this dude? I remember saying it on my show. Listen, there's this guy on the team. He wears number 4. Everybody knows Bobby Wagner. Everybody knows Bobby Wagner. That's a household name right there. I don't think people know who this guy Frankie Louvu is, but let me tell you, woo, super nice person, super nice, so kind, really. But on the football field, that's the kind of person you want to go to war with. Did anybody notice what happened with, I'm kind of laughing, probably shouldn't be laughing, when Mikey Sanders still just, bumped Deshaun out of out out of bounds? I mean, it was an inbounds hit, so it wasn't a flag or anything, but it was on the Cleveland Browns side. And who was the first person over there? Who was the first person over there? He was across the field, and somehow he got there real fast. Like, what y'all gonna do? What's up? It was Frankie Louvu. And then who right there? Deron Payne. Now, normally Deron is there first on the scene, but Frankie just got there first because that's just who Frankie is. Just who Frankie is. I like roses and I like violets. If anybody would like to give me my flowers for being like, hey, listen, there's a goon over there. Bobby Wagner's still a goon, but they got a little bit of a younger goon. So them together is still Goon Squad official, but it's just gets a little crazy quickly, as you all could see. As you all could see. I want to talk about another player that I don't think they're talking enough about. Love button fire emoji. Austin Eckler was back. Remember when I asked Cliff Kingsbury about Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler, and he said B-Rob is a number one back in this league, and we're going to make sure people know that this year. And I don't know where the narrative is coming from that Austin Eckler has lost the step. He ain't lost nothing. Okay? Austin Eckler, thank you. Thank you for what you do. And he's showing up for this team. But who saw the 57-yard run with Austin Eckler? Who saw that? Who saw the run? And did you see actually on that run, I don't remember which Cleveland Browns player it was now, but he actually punched the ball out. Austin fumbled. Right there running with him was Olamide Zaccheaus. Right? Number 14. This is a number, and this is a player that has been consistently called on. He was a captain one of the game weeks. You've heard Dan Quinn talk about him and who he is and the type of player and the energy that he brings, right? He was right there rocking and rolling with Austin to do what? Recover the football when he fumbled. Did you see it? Did you see it? I said, oh my goodness. I asked Coach about this because Coach Quinn, he talked about this in his opening presser. So let's get into the clips because I will talk to you all day about this because I saw a comment, I think from Michael Underwood about Jordan McGee. I asked Coach Quinn about Jordan. Hey, that is another player that I've been talking about since he got here, since rookie camp. I said, I got to find Jordan McGee. I want to interview him first. And I did. Lots there. A lot is there. So I asked Coach about Jordan. But let's get into that play because I'm going to tell you something. Frankie Louvu and what they're doing on defense. But what I saw Zaccheaus do with Austin with that 57-yard run, because anything could happen. And anything did. A previous team, first of all, that 57-yard probably that wouldn't have transpired. Let's just go ahead and keep that a buck. That wouldn't have happened. Recovering the football by another teammate that was rocking with you during this, that wouldn't have happened. I asked Coach Quinn, I was going to ask Coach Quinn about it anyway if no one else did. I asked Coach Quinn about that play after the game. Very interesting comment back in response back from him to my question. Check it out here. Hey, Coach. So I want to go back to the point you were making on the 57-yard run by Austin and just the
Yes.
role that Olamide played in that. Is that something that's just a testament to the type of teammate and player he is, or you all have been practicing that?
I would say there's probably a little bit of both there. We do show those plays about the finishing and can we go harder and longer. And so that started well back, getting like OTAs and training camp. And sometimes we even show those examples from around the league of what finishing can look like at the end of a play. And that may be the wide receiver trying to go block the middle field safety so they can, get the long one to go. On that particular play, there was another receiver downfield block. I don't know if it's Luke or Terry, but I can see it in my head, but I just don't know which player it was. But downfield and finishing, it really shows the support of the guys they're with and how hard they want to play for one another. And that's the connection and extension we've been looking for.
And so to your comment, Melvin Russ McCray, yes, Coach acknowledged. I didn't want to spoiler alert. Coach acknowledged. I was just couldn't believe it when I saw Olamide. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, Zacchaeus is running right there with them. I'm pretty sure in the moment until Coach said it, didn't even realize that Luke was right there too. Although I should know, because that is a player, one of the from the rookie class that I've been consistently tracking. But I want to go to his point about finishing. Now, I talked a lot about finishing in previous episodes as it related to the defense, because if you all remember, right after week 1, that was one of the questions I asked Jonathan Allen directly, which is, what do you need to be doing better? What have you learned going into week 2 and beyond about what do you need to do better? Candy, we just need to finish. I have to finish. So when I heard Coach talk about finishing from the offense perspective, I said, you know what? Yes. I had to wait until I got home and look into my training camp notebook, because I have a training camp notebook, and I had to look in it. And I said, that was one of the observations I made in training camp, that it seemed like every group was still just rolling. I saw it probably start in week 2 or 3 of training camp. So when Coach brought it back up and said the point of, we also showed them clips of other teams, other plays of what finishing looks like. See, I want to ask a question because I want to know what's going into this. I want to know what y'all are doing. I do. Because I see improvements. Of course, the addition of these are guys who want to play for one another. If you all can't see that after 5 weeks, I don't know, because that's definitely what we all are watching for sure. But the fact that they're incorporating different learning mechanisms in here so that it resonates with the guys and they're able to implement it on game day, I love it. I love it. And it's important to understand. You all have heard me say this in previous seasons of this show. It is important to understand your audience, different ways of learning, different ways of communicating, what is going to resonate. So they're doing a variety of things. So far, it's working. Now, I had to ask this question. It almost hurt me to ask it, you all. It did. And I'm going to tell you why. It was about Jaden and Zach Ertz. They didn't quite have the connection. Some things just don't work some Sundays, right? And you all know, and I've been talking about it, Zach Ertz, call him what? The security blanket. But it wasn't quite there in week 5. Didn't really see it. You know, it was keyed up. It was dialed up. Just missing each other some of the time. So I did ask Coach about that. And typically we've seen, Jaden and Zach Ertz have a connection, but today, a couple of misses here and there,
Yep.
Just immediately after the game, what did you see there?
Yeah, I thought we had a couple of chances, and just I think if you'd ask them, sometimes you miss them. When you nail them, it feels good, and when you miss them, it doesn't. So knowing the two of them, I'm sure they will want to be going tomorrow out, to work on extra things to go. But yeah, those two have a really strong connection. So when you miss them, they don't miss them very often.
They don't, but they did. And use your clues, write it in your notebook. Coach said, I'm sure they'll tomorrow, which means those misses in week 5 probably won't see too many more of those again. Like he said, knowing those two, gonna fix that. And so far, we've seen when there's an issue, something pops up. It's not like us. It's not what we do. Let's fix that. We'll get into whether or not you want to go ahead and start Zach Ertz if you got him in your fantasy league next week, because I ain't even supposed to talk about next week yet. But if I know those two, let's say we're going to correct what went wrong in week 5. So hold on to that. Now, you all, let's go ahead and get into the small scrum with Bobby Wagner. This is about 4.5 minutes, you all, so get cozy. Get cozy. If you're just tuning in, this is from the Coaches from the Couch series, the Washington Commanders update. I call this the exclusive insights because I am there on the ground with the team as one of their daily beat reporters. And so I'm from Bowie TV. If you're watching on TV, you're watching from Verizon Channel 11 or Comcast Xfinity Channel 77, or you are watching the stream on Facebook, make sure you hit the love button. If you're on YouTube, thumbs up. Definitely, you can still share the link because we have quite a bit more to talk about. Like I said, this Bobby Wagner interview is probably about 4.5 minutes. You'll hear the voice of Donna Hopkins from Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus, as well as David Harrison on Locked On Commanders will be after myself in this interview. You'll also see a slick and sly comment toward me from Bobby Wagner because, as if you all don't know, he is at Howard University getting his MBA. I am a Hampton University graduate. So when it comes down to the real HU talk, right now, Hampton is. So I just want to throw that in there. And let me go ahead and show this interview. And after that, we're going to get into Dan Quinn's presser from today. Definitely a lot to discuss there and a lot that I want to fill you all in on from today. So let's go ahead and get into Bobby's interview again. Relax, chill out, because this one is about 4.5 minutes long.
Fun. That's the biggest thing, fun. Just being a part of this group. We got a good mix of older guys, younger guys. It's a lot of fun.
Defensively, 2 weeks in a row, all phases of this defense has really been clicking. What has been the key in these last 2 weeks of what you're seeing?
Just trying to lock in on the little things. I think, early in the season, it was one guy here, one guy there, and I think it's just we're trying to put it together collectively. Everybody playing on one string, one accord, and I feel like we're getting close to that. We still got a lot of room to go.
Next week, up the road, Baltimore Ravens. They just put out a win today. How do you
Did
see
they win?
Yes, they put out a
down.
win in the end. Yeah, they were down.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. But how do you see that team as far as you all facing them next week? What's the keys on defense? A different quarterback that you're going to face. Talk to me about what this defense has to do with that team.
I mean, it starts with Lamar. I haven't watched all the film yet, but I'm pretty confident once I turn the film on, it's going to be him. Then they got a really good running back behind him, and that's what makes it hard. You got to stop both of them, and it's a hard thing to do. And so we're up for the challenge. It's going to be a good test for us, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to enjoy this win right now, and then we're going to move on and play those guys. It's going to be our first time, this close. And how did we even get there? I don't even know. Plane or,
Just up the road.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
You all fly to
there's no
Baltimore.
way.
Y'all going to take the speed train
We have to
or
do
a bus?
something. We have to do something. It'd be up and down just like that. So, I don't know. It's fun.
When overall this defense, do you feel that they haven't even tapped into their full potential yet?
Yeah, we haven't even, I think there's still plays we haven't ran yet. There's still things that we haven't done. So I'm excited.
Thanks a lot.
Your relationship with Jaden Daniels. No, your relationship with Jaden Daniels, big brother, little brother. Can you share what you have seen out of Jaden each week?
Man, just the poise. Every week he's getting better. Every week he's he's reading the defenses and making the calls and having a command of the huddle. You see the leadership, the way he's talking to guys and things like that. He's just, growing every week, making some amazing throws. Throw to Terry on the money. Just it's really fun to watch. And then you come in and you give him trash about being a rookie. So it's a good balance.
And then soon the linebacker group will have Jordan McGee, rookie Jordan McGee, back into the mix. So how excited are you about that?
I'm excited. I watched him all OTA. Watched him in training camp. Unfortunately, he got hurt that first preseason game. But he's a playmaker, so he's going to be very good for us.
Bobby, I know you and Frankie go back, but can you talk about your relationship on the field and how much that's grown over the last 5 weeks?
Honestly, it starts off the field. We used to train at Four Sports down in Seattle. We would have never thought that we were going to play with each other, and to be able to play with him, and it's just fun. We have a great connection off the field, great chemistry, and so we just bring it onto the field. We constantly talking to each other, we constantly feeding off one another. When I got to get more energy, he gives it to me, and vice versa, and it's just fun. He's fun to play alongside him.
And how good is it for you two to combine on that fumble where you force the fumble, falls into his hands? How fun is that?
It was great. I didn't even know. I didn't even know the ball came out. I just heard the crowd, and then I saw Frankie running, so I thought he picked it.
Yeah.
So that's dope. I love that. They said he should have scored. I haven't seen it. He said he should have beat somebody, so I talked trash to him when I see the play.
Well, fine. Do you see a future you in Frankie as far as leader of a locker room, leader of a team?
Of course. I don't think I'm not really in the comparison thing. I think Frankie's his own person, but he's an amazing leader. Somebody that's just contagious. His energy is contagious. I think he's finding his voice. His play speaks for itself, and it's just, like I said, it's just fun to be a part of it.
So you all, let's keep it rolling with the clips and just the overall tone, if you will, around the defense. As I mentioned to you all earlier, my Commanders media colleague from the Washington Post, Nikki Javala, asked Dan Quinn today about the defense, and let's check out his response here.
Hi, Dan. Kind of along those same lines, was there a point where you really started to see the defense kind of get it together, turn things around really in the last couple weeks?
I certainly felt like Arizona was a step in the right direction for us, Nikki. They started, the rush, how does it go? And we played better on third downs to create some longer third downs. So I think some of those ones of, the first downs that go to a second and long, you make a good stop. Those are the ones, Nikki, and maybe there's some hidden ones on the first downs to make sure, you're under 5 yards, as that's going to create some longer third downs. I also really felt the energy and the speed of the players. I felt that I can remember clearly one going to the defensive left with John Allen early in the game, chasing Deshaun down, who can absolutely fly. So to see, one of the big guys really hauling to go, I thought that was a really big deal. But the tackling, I thought, has increased over the last couple of weeks. Nikki, we're still not getting quite the takeaways that I'd hoped we would, but I do feel like those shots are now becoming more apparent in terms of the forced fumbles and how we could go get those. But that's the next step for us.
So for those that were thinking, and as I mentioned it as well, you saw it. The first time you saw it, said, that's what it is. That's what it could be. It was in Arizona. And I think it was probably, I know at least for me, when I saw it, it was when Jaden threw the pick trying to get to Terry in Arizona, and the defense said, hey, totally understand, Kyler, this is your house, but we're going to go ahead and give you this 3 and out and get the ball back to Jaden. Thanks so much. That's when I first saw it. That's when I really saw it. The rest of these clips are going to be from today's presser. I want to talk a little bit more about each one of these clips that I thought was important going into week 6. So if you have any questions for me, if you have any questions at all, drop them in the chat. Now's your chance, folks. Now is your chance. If you have questions, always happy to answer them. I will try to give you as much as I can. Don't be afraid. Ask me anything. Totally fine. Let's move on to the next clip. I think this question was also from the Washington Post, Sam Fortier.
Are you seeing any, I guess, macro defensive adjustments as teams get more film on Jaden, or is it more opponent-specific, week-to-week sort of deal?
Yeah, right now to me, Sam, it feels week to week as we're just kind of getting warmed up still on a lot of it. So each team, I think, will play to their own style, and like everybody plays some forms of zone and some mans, but who blitzes more, who doesn't, who uses a spy on him, who doesn't, because those are all things that if you use a spy, you're not blitzing as much because you're not taking the extra player to go. Or if you're, trying to blitz, you're vulnerable on, some of the deep balls and things that go with that. So going into it, I would say they're probably still digging in because there's another side of our offense in the run game that is a really important part of that. I think we've talked about that, Sam, the importance of having run and play pass that goes with it, because now you're not just, relying on a drop back game. So having the yin to the yang and the run and the play pass that goes with it, that's kind of the secret sauce, to make a offense really hard to defend, where you have both that you have to be able to do.
One of the things that I've been concerned about, or maybe I'm not concerned, it's just I want to see what happens. And I've mentioned this maybe after the Bengals game, I think, while in Arizona, because I went straight from there. Well, I came home for like a day, and then I went out to Phoenix. And I think in one of the episodes, I may have mentioned there, what is it going to be like once teams get film on Jaden and the offense? I think right now it's a shock. It's a surprise. That's what I said at the beginning of the episode. Of this episode was like, hey, Commanders fans, I know you're feeling good, but if you're not a Commanders fan right now, you're probably upset. You're probably like, what is going on over there? Because the team has been historically bad for a long time, consistently. And you're seeing them improve every week. And it's not necessarily just like, September was tremendous for Jaden. Okay. But I think the thing was, at least for me, in watching in week 5 against the Browns, it was, Jaden made enough mistakes where you're like, okay, he is human, everybody. He definitely is human. It's the recovery for me. It's the recovery. They keep playing. They keep coming up with something else. They keep making it work. That's what I was like, okay. And the defense is consistently improving. You all heard, if you were tuned in, and if you're just tuning in, make sure you replay it and check out Bobby Wagner's our small scrum with Bobby Wagner, where he said this they have not reached their full potential. They're just getting started. And I said that earlier in the episode. I'm like, this is not, imagine 11 Frankie Louvu's always on the field. That's what they want. And when I asked Coach Witt, he named 5 players. Now, I don't know now. He might name 7. He might name 8. Might still be those same 5. But that's what they want to see from everybody. So once they're able to consistently, everybody bring the Frankie Louvu energy, every single rep could be totally different thing. And I'm going to say this with they got film. Here's the thing. Once people have film, depending on, they do different things. See, it's easy right now because nobody's prepared. Like I said a moment ago, they wasn't expecting this. The league wasn't expecting this. They weren't expecting this. Not this fast. Okay? Not this fast. This is different quickly. And every week it gets better. That kind of improvement, mind you, with a majority of the team has not played together. So when you're seeing an offense adjust this quickly, You go from scoring no touchdowns one week to doing what the next couple weeks? And when nobody ready for that, that's because it's still fresh, it's still new. Still new. Then once you start seeing certain things, okay, you know, you start paying attention to what's going on across the league, then you say, oh, people planning for weeks in advance, are you? I would be too if I were you. I would be too if I were you. I shared this last week. I shared this actually not on this episode, not on this show. I was on a show last week. Ping him if you know him, Kyle Nash, the student of the game, where I said, hey, I've got some information. I'll share it here because it's coming from me. Well, this is kind of alarming. This is not saying that this team wouldn't be successful, but this level of success 5 weeks in, no. A rookie quarterback being able to do what he has done 5 weeks in, no. Because some of this has not been done before either from a rookie quarterback. Let's just be real. It's the truth. These are just the stats. I'm just repeating them, okay? You're talking new coaching staff, majority of players new, and this is the level of success. Is it even real? And we're going to get to that in a moment because my commander's colleague from the Washington Times, Liam Griffin, asked that question. So we're going to get to that in a moment. I thought it was an excellent question. I can't wait until you all hear the response from Coach Quinn. It's a little different when you game planning. And an age-old tactic that has been used over the years was that teams would pick up players from practice squads and try to get information from those players. Now, you wouldn't typically see that happen with the Commanders in the past because who were you really going to get? For real. No shade. I'm just being objective and telling the truth. Well, there's been several practice squad players that have been picked up. I mean, let's be for real. KJ Henry went to the Cincinnati Bengals, and then the Cincinnati Bengals waived him, and then they brought him back to the practice squad. He was since then picked up by the Cowboys. He was inactive last night, but he was picked up by the Cowboys. Let's go ahead and count him out now. Count him out. Use your clues. This is a tactic that teams use. They just never had to use them here because this team was never a threat. So I'm going to go ahead and put KJ right. Well, you got a pen, paper. Okay. Use your clues. KJ, I think Khaleke Hudson has now gone from the New Orleans Saints to where Khaleke, but I don't think Khaleke was even here. But he knows some of the players though. He knows players. But he's gone from the Saints to Cleveland. We saw him yesterday. Do y'all remember him? I don't think he was here, but he knows some of the players. He knows some of the pedigree, some of the players, what they can do. But there were a couple players that were picked up from the practice squad last week. Did you all know that? Fire emoji, love button, or say CWall, I didn't know that. It's a couple of players that got picked up from the practice squad last week. By a team that's on the schedule, by another team that, no, they're not on the schedule, but I'm sure they're curious, and I'm sure they're planning for future in case they see them in the future. So use your clues because it is the tactics. That's what people tell me. Oh, they've been doing this. They've been doing this for years. Yeah, they've been doing it for years. But they haven't been doing it here for years. There's a difference. Then as soon as I come back with that, they've been doing that tactic for years. Yes. Never here because there was never a reason to. I said, well, CWall, you're right about that. Thank you. This is how we know it's a thing. So, with that being said, what happens when you become a threat? Cliff, how you asked me a question, and you all can ask questions. How are you feeling about the Ravens game? Hey, listen, ask me. I'm going to acknowledge that question and probably answer it on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Right now, I really don't know. I don't know. I will tell you, I'm not necessarily expecting the Commanders to win. I'm not. It's the truth. The Ravens won a hard one, though. You all saw, if you watched the Bobby Wagner interview, he had to look. They won. They was down. Of course they did. Of course they did. Yes, of course they did. Of course they did. Yeah, they did. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, of course they did. Justin Tucker, he gonna kick a field goal from Northwest to M&T Bank Stadium and make it. I'm sure of it. So, I mean, okay. Yeah, of course they did. Listen, no, I'm not necessarily expecting the team to win. I don't necessarily feel like this is a true test either. I don't know what to feel about it. I'm going to see. I got to watch them practice. I got to see the vibe first. Everybody's on the Victory Monday high. So I got to get into the trenches this week and really see what's going on. I will say this about this game. It is getting so much attention, you all. Wow. I'm like, is this what it's like when the team is winning? Whoa, okay. Who are all these people? So they're getting a lot of attention. But so far, from what I can tell, the team has not changed their stripes. Everybody is just focused. Everybody, they're just the same. On to the next one. So I have a better answer for you maybe later in the week, once I can see what's going on. We still have so much to discuss, you all. How about this? Love button fire emoji. Phidarian Mathis. Hello, Phidarian Mathis. A couple years ago, we know he's been battling injuries. A couple of years ago, he was one of my favorite draft picks. He's been dealing with injuries, but hey, Phidarian's name has been called a few times. Okay, a few times. And so yesterday, a whole lot. And can you all for a moment, I want to shout out Destiny Jackson. Destiny, it works for Bowie TV. I met her when she was working for the Washington Commanders. This is the power of relationships and just being a good person and good people. And Destiny does a phenomenal job for Bowie TV. She did a phenomenal job when she was with the Commanders. And everybody say hello to Destiny. And we just go, Destiny is fantastic in everything that she does. And the only thing we're going to pray on is that Destiny doesn't turn into a mini CWall. We want her to be a Destiny, not a mini CWall. Because I say things sometimes and I'm like, whoa, that's something I would have said. But, at any rate, say hello to Destiny, you all. People are already asking me about the prime time game, and CBS is not letting go of the game. 1:00, and I would like for it to stay 1:00, please, because I like 1:00 games. I do. Primetime games are rough, but for us, primetime games are so hard. But it is it's even freaking me out a little bit how much of the energy and how much everyone's talking about Jaden. A lot of conversation around Jaden. Man, oh man, things sure do change when you get a quarterback, huh? So, Phidarian Mathis. This is another name that I feel like people aren't talking about enough. And so this is how I knew. I said, you all, I must be doing really well. Because I had two other questions today. And we're going to get to my questions. But the great, great, great David Aldridge asked the questions that I wanted to know, and he went before me today, and it's fantastic. And one was about Phidarian Mathis, because Phidarian is definitely coming into his own. He really, really is. And then DA's next question was about special teams. So check out these clips here.
And first on the D tackle rotation yesterday, what did you see in particular Phidarian yesterday?
Yeah, I really felt his size and strength come alive, Dave. And I felt, they had a couple combination blocks where he could use that strength and size to go, having one of the batted balls, for him early inside. I thought that was a big piece, but it was good to see his trajectory going up. We got Johnny some more reps to go. So to see the speed that we're wanting those guys to play with, it was nice to be able to have a big rotation for the guys. When the game kind of became more one-dimensional, you even need more of the rotation. So when those moments happen, you'll see a big group of guys rolling through, and it was good to be able to do that yesterday.
And here's DA's second question on special teams.
And on teams, what have you seen from Nick the last, couple of games since the Giants game in terms of his impact on the coverage units especially?
Yeah, I wish on the sideline you should hear him and Jeremy Reeves, discussing like special teams at a high level. If they're going to do this is what we need to do, working twists and games. But his impact was really felt yesterday. It was 4 or 5 tackles, the physicality that he brings. But I love the energy, Dave, that the cover units bring. Specifically the kickoff coverage. And I know sometimes it may get out to the 28 and 29, and on a stat sheet it may look like, well, it's just 1 yard difference. When you see the defense take the field after a big hit and the energy that gets created from that, there is more to it than shows up on the stat sheet. And Bloor's right in the middle of those. And it also gives you some chances to knock the ball out. And we did that at Arizona. We didn't get it, but I do like their energy and their effort and toughness, and they do help set a tone for who we want to be. And I love Nick's right in the middle of all that.
DQ really wants those takeaways. He really wants the takeaways. You knock the ball out. Okay, yeah, great. But he wants the recovery. He wants the recovery. He wants the football back. He wants the score. He wants the numbers to run up. I can hear it in his voice all the time, because he might say, oh, yeah, we forced a fumble. We didn't get it. Or kind of like we did. He knocked the ball out, but he didn't get it. But special team unit, definitely making an impact both sides. And I like what you're seeing there. I'm a special teams person. Didn't want to harp too much on starting field position, because y'all know that's one of my categories that I like to talk about. I like to talk about penalties too. So Miss Petty Penalty Lady, that is what I asked about. So today I asked about a penalty because I really wanted to know. And I asked Coach Quinn about Jordan McGee as well. And then the last clip is going to be DQ's comments about the fans. Drop any questions you have in the chat, because we may be closing out in about 5 to 7 minutes. So if you have some questions, you want me to stay on the line, you make sure you ask the question. But here's going over to my first question of the day to head coach Dan Quinn.
Hey there, good afternoon, Coach. With the focus yesterday, a bit, well, not the focus, but a lot of energy around Frankie Lugo and the linebacker group, Bobby Wagner as well, with rookie linebacker Jordan McGee returning to practice. What will he bring to that position group once he's ready to play on game day?
Yeah, you're right about Frankie and the energy that he brings on and off the field, Candy. He does add a lot. It's a little bit of the yin and yang with Bobby and him, but I felt both of them in the blitz package, quite honestly, yesterday, and making their impact felt. For Jordan specifically, I thought, I felt his speed, his blitz ability. We worked him a lot in man-to-man just based on that speed. So now that he's into his first practice week, and next week he'll be going back into his second one, we kind of want to work hard on his skills. Like, they were really trending in the right way. And so after a time off, you want to make sure all the movements, the football techniques, the skills that go with that, that's what we're working hard. But he's still growing into his game and what he'll be. And literally, Candy, there can't be many better rooms for him to be in as a linebacker than to see and talk with these guys on a regular basis. So we're going to grow him and take him as far as we can, but no limit about where I think he would be. We're just going to kind of dig in and take it as far as we can with him.
Which I just love to hear, right? You want to do what's right because he's coming off of an injury, but what he's going to learn specifically from that position group, and then what he is probably even witnessing each week in this team and how they're playing. Who wouldn't want to dive in and sink their teeth into all of that action, for real? And to know that you can just come in aggressive, it's pretty cool if that's how you play. Now going back to Miss Petty penalty queen over here. Look, the team has done very well in cleaning up penalties. Y'all know I was on one about penalties during training camp, during preseason, week 1 and week 2. We've definitely seen an improvement there. However, I did have to ask about one penalty in particular because I just wanted to get coach's thoughts on it. So check it out.
I think there was an illegal shift penalty in the second quarter.
There was.
What happened there?
So when there's a motion, whether it be a receiver or a tight end, and there's a motion that happens, and if people are still moving while that motion's happening, you have to set. And so I think it was probably a case where we were ready to get going on the ball, and it was seen as a shift and not a motion. So after more than 2 people are moving, you have to be set. And so it was the right call by the official. We were moving, and we needed to get set, and we snapped it like it was a motion rather than a shift. So it was a good rip by Jaden. I believe it went to Zach and didn't count, but it was the right call. So
yeah, I was so disappointed because I was like, there it is. Jaden and Zach and Jaden, and then it came back, and I was like, oh. So that is why I was harping on that one, because I was definitely tracking. Jaden was his security blanket, Zach Ertz, and that penalty came up, and so I definitely wanted to ask about that. No one had asked about it yet, so just wanted to get coach's thoughts on it and what happened and what was going on there. I saw Mazdak's question. Did Defoe get some field time? He did. So safety Tyler Owens ended up being out of the game yesterday. And so Defoe got some field time on special teams and at the very end of the game. So he did get some field time. He even did a few backflips after the game was over, headed into the tunnel. So I said, okay, Defoe's in a good mood. He's happy. He played today. He got some field time. He did a few back flips, and that was good. I was happy because he was happy. So that was a very good thing. I do want to mention, before I go into this last clip, the question that Liam Griffin had about the fans. And I really want you all to pay attention to this one. When, what was it? Almost like the top of the fourth quarter, and they decided to take out many of the offensive starters, I said, wow. And I made a joke on my Facebook. I said, now how disrespectful is that? The commander. Oh my gosh, you got a whole quarter to play. You just took Jaden Daniels, the other starters out, man. What is going on here? But when have you seen that? When have you seen the Commanders be able to do that? Where you have made that much of a point and you have paid attention to the game. The Browns had a lot of players going down during the game. And so shout out to them, prayers to them. You never want to see anybody get injured. And so it was just I couldn't believe it, because it wasn't in a negative way. It was, we're standing down. We're going to win this football game. You got people over there dropping like flies. We're just going to go ahead and roll the rest of this one out. And we saw them do a little bit of that last week, right? Bobby Wagner and others had to come out the game, and it was only a couple minutes left, but they were like, why, coach? What's going on? Hey, good job. You did well. And I was not, a lot of people were concerned when Marcus came in there, and I was like, no, I want to say, you make it into this is for a good reason. So I want to drop your thoughts in the chat on that. So Jordan McGee had it was a knee injury. It was not as serious as they thought it was. In terms of Dominique Hampton getting an opportunity, they've definitely been trying to, continuing to work on his skill set as a rookie, and with this group working between the safeties and the linebackers. So we'll see as he continues to grow. But Jordan, I think it was initially believed that Jordan's injury was much worse than what it was, because he will be able to come back this season. But they definitely want to take it as reasonably slow as possible, right? There isn't and we talked about this a little bit last week, where it's like the team is winning. So where they can just take their time, they will, as they should. So this team, clearly the way they speak and the way they move, has aspirations, longer than the regular season. So they are treating him accordingly and getting him ready to go. So I'm seeing this comment here. It was pretty rough for Browns fans. They weren't in a happy space at all. They weren't in a good space. Not at all. Not at all. So with that being said, let's get into the final clip I have for this episode of Liam's question to Dan Quinn about fans.
Liam, we'll finish with you. Thanks. Coach, you started this call by talking about the fan base, and I'd like to finish there too. A lot of these fans aren't used to this kind of success on the field, and a lot of them are waiting for the other shoe to drop and waiting for this momentum to cool off. What would you tell those fans who are kind of waiting for the rug to get pulled out from under them?
Boy, Liam, I don't think of it in that way at all. And I didn't feel that or sense that in the game at all about the energy that they brought. Like I said, we were absolutely dripping in it because of what they brought. So I just want them to know every time we go, they're going to see a team that's absolutely bringing it and tough and physical. So that's, last game, a month from now, 10 years from now, that's just how we're going to get down. And knowing that they're creating an environment that's going to make it really challenging for other teams to go because of the players on the field and the fans in the environment. If you put both of those two things together, like, that's a legitimate home field advantage. So that's why I thought it was so important to recognize it, because part of the reason the team played really well on third down, man, it was loud and it was hard. They had to make checks at the line of scrimmage and go through things. And it's as fun as you can imagine being down on the field when it's absolutely ripping like that. So for those who are thinking the other way, I'd say it's 2024. And so just let's let it ride with these guys and have a blast and be as loud as you can.
So with that being said, I said, Dan Quinn done got to me, y'all. Because he tried it with me last week when he was asking. And I was like, well, the team's been losing for a long time. He was like, we don't have anything to do with that. That's not on us. And Adam Peters was like, no, we don't. I mean, short memory. Short memory. We can't. It's not anything to do with us. And I'm like, well, you got to give people some time. No, don't want to hear that either. Short memory. Don't. And I'm just like, I'm trying to get it here. They were trying to hear. And I said, well, you even know how it was when you all came here, right? With your different teams. It was like a home game. They were like, yeah. But it's different with us now. We're here now. And so it shouldn't be that way. And I'm like, okay. Got it. Tell the fans come out. All right. I'll send a message and do what I can. But guess what? I didn't have to tell the fans to come out because you all were already there. And I was thoroughly impressed by what I saw. And the team was as well. I mean, it was that's what home games should look like. And that's what they should feel like. And when the result is what it was, it's hard not to get sucked into that, right? And bought into that. I want to say, though, it didn't take long to fill the stadium back up. So, it's kind of like saying, oh, it's going to take time for people to get bought it. No, not really. The fans have already shown up. They've shown up. They showed up big. And I am, as I said, hey, on that one, you all follow Dan Quinn's lead. Okay. Follow his lead. He said, go ahead and show up and be excited and be happy and all that. So go ahead and do that. You can either temper your expectations, which is what I've been sharing, and I'm going to stick with that. Or you can listen to Dan Quinn. And I'm going to tell you, go ahead and listen to Dan Quinn. Go ahead and listen to Dan Quinn, because just listen to him. He's made so much sense so far. So he hasn't not made sense yet. So I've been whenever somebody does something and they say something and I see the action and I see the shift in an actionable way, it doesn't really take them a whole lot to impress me. Just do what you say you're going to do. And this is what this team is doing, from the ownership, from the front office, to the coaches, to the players. So far, literally everything they said they were going to do, they have done. It is just week 5. They also, I do get constantly reminded of, it is still a lot of season left, and it's just week 5 and going into week 6. But I think that in this upcoming week 6 game, in the Battle of the Beltway, all eyes will be on this game, just because it's Lamar Jackson, and what do you know? Jaden Daniels. And it's close. So Ravens fans always show up at M&T Bank Stadium. Commanders fans, y'all gonna be there too? Let me know. So more to come. More to come. I gave everybody until Wednesday to be happy. Then it's back to business. And that's a long time, because I already think the Commanders are over. They over it. They already on to the Ravens, I think. So we shall see. We shall see. On to the next one, as they say. So you all, if you just tuned in, we've been on for like an hour and some change. You have to go back and watch and check it all out. Check out all the clips. Check out all the comments. All of those things, you all. This is from the Coaching from the Couch series, the Washington Commanders update. I absolutely appreciate you all, because you could have spent your time tuned into Monday Night Football, but you kept tuning in here to the live. So if you're watching it later and you missed the live, game recaps are typically always live. So make sure you have your notifications on so that you know when I'm going live, so that you can hop on in to the live to hopefully get your comments shared or up on the screen, as well as get any questions that you have answered. Because I definitely do my best to try to keep this thing going and to give you all as much information as I possibly can. I sincerely hope it is helpful to you all. You all listen, thank you for rolling with me, and I'll be talking to you all again soon.